Area that has an unhealthy amount of air pollution, and it could lead to lung cancer. That's 48 million people live in areas where smog and soot particles make it unhealthy to breathe the air, and that's
tonight is in a race to contain that toxic spill in Colorado, which 3 million gallons of mining waste turning the Animas River yellow. Now the pollution is making oil spill stretching for miles along the picturesque Southern California coastline near Santa Barbara, which may have spilled up to 105,000 gallons of oil into the ocean.
For many years, the Earth has been abused. Pollution is a renowned issue that negatively affects the environment. Humanity does not understand the dangers caused by pollution in regards to not only human life, but animal and plant life as well. People turn to oceans as their waste bin for plastic bottles, glass, and other harmful materials. Marine life is taking the consequences for our behaviors. Approximately 40% of the lakes in America are too polluted for fishing, aquatic life, or even swimming.
Cars and factories across the nation produce tons of pollution on a daily basis, which ultimately leads to the emission of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide. If nothing is done to stop this epidemic, temperatures will rise, ice caps will melt, ocean levels will rise, and weather patterns across the globe will be disrupted.
Specifically in Rockland County, streams including the Pascack Brook that runs from Spring Valley to the Woodcliff Lake Reservoir is heavily polluted with garbage that contaminates the water.
Careless people of Rockland throw their garbage and other pollutants into the brook and the wooded area around it. Not only does the garbage pollute the drinking water, but it has devastating effects on the wildlife in their homes.
Here we visited the Pascack Brook, where visibly polluted water will one day be converted into drinking water.
How does it feel knowing that your drinking water that you consume every day is from rivers like this, disgustingly polluted, are trash?
From the Pascack Brook, the crew then headed to examine where the polluted water would eventually be purified and turned into drinking water. This place is known as the Woodcliff Lake Reservoir. As you can see, the water in the Woodcliff Lake Reservoir is filtered and the filth is clearly seen. It is hard to believe that the reservoir catches every bit of pollution from areas such as the Pascack Brook. What is the most prevalent type of pollution in Rockland County, in your opinion?
That's a good question, and it makes me think of a couple of different things. The first thing that comes to my mind is all the cars in Rockland County. Every time a car drives somewhere, you don't really notice it, but little bits of oil drop off the engine. If you were to go to the school parking lot and look in the parking spot where the engine sits above the pavement, did you ever notice that there's an oil puddle under every single spot? When it rains, that gets washed into the water. But another problem might be that when homeowners put pesticides and herbicides and fertilizers on their lawns, that washes into the water too. But the thing that bothers me the most are all the plastic bags and water bottles that wind up in the woods. People are a little careless, and when you drop something outside, it doesn't just go away if it's plastic. It's there for about 10,000 years. So I'm going to say water pollution is our biggest problem.
How effective do you feel something like a Rockland cleanup or Great American cleanup really is in the grand scheme of things? I know you would have a great first-person perspective on this.
I've participated in Rockland's Great American cleanup every year for the past 15 years, and I bring the kids who are in apes and napes with me. And every year we go outside and we probably collect 10 bags of garbage that are in the woods around the school, things that blow off the parking lot that I hope accidentally fall out of kids' cars. Do you know that where that plastic ultimately winds up?
Where?
In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, there's an island of plastic about the size of Texas.
Wow. How does something like that giant island of plastic affect an ocean's ecosystem?
When the plastic blows off the land into the water, it lasts about 10,000 years. But the pieces start to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they act like chemical sponges. So all of the pollution that comes out of the smokestacks of our factories and falls into the water, it gets absorbed by that plastic. That little plastic is mistaken by food by the fish. They eat it, and that pollution goes into them. The little fish are eaten by the big fish, and eventually we eat those fish, so the pollution's coming back to us.
What do you have to say to those who still doubt that global warming is a real issue?
I'm going to remind them that hundreds of years ago, when Galileo said that it was the sun that was at the center of the universe and not the earth, they didn't believe him. Not only did they not believe him, they put him in jail. So if he was around today to say that climate change is real, global warming is real, and he pointed to the 97% of climate scientists who agree that it's real, and the 3% who don't, who work for the fossil fuel industry, I would hope that intelligent people would make up their mind that it is real and something that we need to do something